for the research. So you can apply this kind of models with younger students because it works. I already doing it with the PYP students during Super 3 and Big 6. So we just need to modeling to the kids. Okay, kids, we're going to practice our thinking skill. We're going to apply our Socratic method. And then this is a conceptual clarification question. When Ibu Ani asks you, what is blah, 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 blah. Things like that. So the kids need to know the flow, the structure, what is Socratic, and how we're doing Socratic. So that is very important. And again, from 6 Socratic question, you can put it into a different inquiry cycle, either in tuning in, finding out, sorting out, going further, or conclusion. Okay, we're going to have a different Q&A later on. Let's move on to Bloom taxonomy. So perhaps Ibu Farah will continue with the Bloom taxonomy.
Thank you, Ibu Maryani. The second tool that we choose is Bloom's taxonomy. I mean, this taxonomy has been around for, it feels like forever. So we map all the 6 stages of Bloom taxonomy to fit the Kat Murdoch's inquiry cycle. So remembering, we matched it with tuning in stage. Understanding is in finding out, applying and analyzing all together is in sorting out and going further. Evaluating is in creating. So Bloom's taxonomy helps us as educators to map learning within a single lesson or even a whole course. Using the taxonomy as a guide, we can identify clear instructional goals corresponding to each of these taxonomy level and create plans to achieve them. By setting achievable objects for our students, I think we make them more active and responsible for their education. What makes it interesting is that you can even introduce the verbs to your students and then have them to formulate their own questions based on the level of the taxonomy. And I found when I tried that activity in my classroom, I found that yes, coming up with good questions is actually takes exercise, so it doesn't really come naturally. The first stage, oh, did I just like jump slides? Kind of feel like, yeah, I did. Okay, so the first stage is remembering. Well, this is about memorizing basic facts, names, dates, events, persons, places, right? At this level, we ask them simple questions that recalling facts, information, like what is the chemical formula of student in Indonesia, question like this. The associations that we create in this level is by recognizing or locating knowledge in our long-term memory related to the material we're going to give them in the classroom, and retrieving knowledge from our memory or recalling dates of important historical events and the likes. The second stage is understanding. It's more to explaining a concept in their own words. For examples, describing mathematical graphs or clarifying a metaphor. The association we create, we make connections with the understanding stage is interpreting. It implies changing from one form of representation to another form. Might be transferring some numerical information into verbal as an example, and then exemplifying or finding a specific illustrations of a concept or principle. Classifying is determining a category of something, and summarizing is retrieving general theme of significant points. We can also make connections to comparing and explaining. Comparing is a bit very interesting for me because it's a skills that I am exercising in grade 9 INS, finding correspondence between two ideas or two objects. A higher level of that would be contrasting. Example question in understanding would be, in your own words, in your own understanding, what is meant by independence, for example. So it's actually a concept you would like to introduce to them, but have the students to paraphrase in their own words. The third stage of taxonomy is apply, which the students, after they have learned about facts and abstractions of new contexts, they put them or use them in a particular situations. For examples, we ask them to discuss certain phenomena being used in one paper, and then the concepts to another problem, for example. The association is executing or applying a certain procedure to familiar task, or implementing, applying a new procedure to an unfamiliar task altogether. This is an example that we bring. Students are asked to discuss phenomena of changes of matters. This is what my colleague is teaching currently in grade 7. The information about changes of matters is being described in one scientific paper or in one worksheet or in one video, and then have them to use the term and the concepts to another problem, to answer questions on paper, or to even locate, is there any changes of matters they can find in the real world around them, which she brought her students to the school area to locate those things. Analyze is the next level where students are supposed to break down concepts and examine their relationships. Some associations that we identify with analyze is differentiating or distinguishing important from unimportant parts, organizing, or identifying how elements fit or function within a certain structure, and attributing or determining a point of view or bias, values, or intent underlying in presented material. For example, students are asked to recognize the genre of a painting or describe the leading causes of the Great Depression in history. The next stage is evaluate, where the students are expected to use their knowledge and skills to appraise a situation, to justify their point of view, their stand, or to even criticize other opinions. In theory of knowledge, one of the common terms being used in the prescribed title, sometimes we find evaluate, and I think this requires a higher order thinking skills. So the student should be able to point out, say, logical fallacies, implications in certain arguments, or making comparisons of certain works. Associations that we make is checking or detecting inconsistency, for example, or fallacies in process or products, and critiquing, which involves finding inconsistency between the product and external criteria. So assessing with the comment to what extent is another example that we found in theory of knowledge as well. And then the last one is creating, which I found to be the most complex stage of the learning process. That's why they put it in on the very top. So at this level, the students combine patterns, ideas, facts to create original work or to formulate their solution to a problem. Not every time I could achieve the level of creation. With my experience, you got to be very creative to be able to achieve this. That's why I find that this is pretty challenging. The association that we make with create is generating, planning, and producing, which involves inventing product, coming up with alternatives, or coming up with certain procedures or completing a task. For example, students might be asked to compose a song, rewrite a story with different endings, for examples, or what I currently do in my grade 10 INS is proposing a draft of the school fire response policy for a secondary level, because we are currently haven't published it formally. So this is the 6 stages of Bloom's taxonomy, and we match them into the inquiry cycles from Cat Murdoch. The next one will be depth of knowledge, introduced by Ibu Maryani.
Okay. So this is the last thinking tools. Dr. Webb, he created this model from 1970s. It's basically in a form of 4 levels, but there is a relationship with Bloom taxonomy. In level 1 is similar with Bloom taxonomy of remembering. And then level 2 is similar with understanding and applying in Bloom taxonomy. And then level 3, analyzing. Level 3 of depth of knowledge is similar with analyzing in Bloom taxonomy. And level 4 are similar with evaluating and creating in Bloom taxonomy. So this is the relationship. I think from those 3, I prefer depth of knowledge because it's simpler and it's easier. And I think for the younger students, they can apply it easily because the wording is quite easier compared to Bloom taxonomy or Socratic method. So basically, again, same with Socratic and taxonomy. In level 1 is about recalling. Why? Because Dr. Webb said that critical thinking is not all about higher thinking order skill, but they sometimes also needs to know the facts as a prior knowledge to grasp an idea. So they need to know the fact first to formulate their ideas. So that's why level 1 is all about recalling. And then perhaps for PYP teachers, you familiar that students, what is a question of form, but in level, in depth of knowledge, what is not all about remembering. Later on, you can see that you can use what for different stages. The way you design the question will change the intricacy, the level of difficulty of what question. Okay, so in level 1, in recalling, again, same like the others, can you recall who was, what is, what, how would you describe things, all about recalling facts. And then in the next level, skill and concept, the students will ask to complete multiple steps. Usually this is all about combining 2 facts and then making connection. How would you compare? How would you classify? Can you organize this? How you organize this? Can you give me a summary? Things like that. So this is not yes or no or one click away from Google, but they need to combine different facts to organize their argument. The next level is strategic thinking. In strategic thinking, this is when they need to apply their high thinking order skills, because in this level, they need to mastering the concept. So what conclusion can you draw from? This will take a longer time to answer. What would happen if? Can you predict the outcome if? And then what is the best answer? And then why? Give me why, give me the reason. So again, you will need more time to engage the students with this kind of question. And then later on, hopefully, we also can modeling the students so they can produce their own question by using different type of depth of knowledge level. So the last step the last level is extended thinking. I think same like in Bloom taxonomy, this is the highest order thinking order, higher order thinking level skill. Yeah, okay. So as an EE coordinator, this is very applicable and relatable because again, in this level, they need to design, they need to do some experiment, they need to do some of extended research to formulate their question. In designing research question for extended essay, this extended thinking level is very necessary. And then I, as a teacher, I need to equip myself on how to challenge the kids on sparking their personal inquiry, and then finding their own interest, and then finding different challenges on how to tweak or investigate the extended essay subject and topic. So hopefully, if we doing it consistently from PYP, MYP, and DP, by the end they reaching their DP year 2, when they are having their extended essay, the critical thinking is already in a mature level. So they can be a very adaptable in their thinking skill. They can transfer their knowledge into different contexts. And then they also should be able to form generalizing. And then they have lots of prerequisite knowledge to design their extended essay. So again, hopefully with using different types of thinking skills, that students will be very adaptable as inquirer, and then they can apply their critical thinking into the everyday life. That is the goals of us. So they know that thinking skill, critical thinking, can be used in and out of the classroom. Okay, so I know that it's a lot. A lot of things needs to be processed. And then I also have a question. Can we have the PPT later? Ibu Farah will change the setting from teacher page into student page. So each one of you can click the PPT by yourself, and then you can use different clarification if you want to return to different previous slide. Okay. Okay. So is there any question, or should we continue to the next activity? Is there any question? Can you hear my voice?
Yes, Miss.
Oh, okay. Okay. So basically, after this explanation, we are challenge you by let's connect our knowledge today into our lesson and subject, and then find an opportunity like, okay, this is a new thing for me. Depth of knowledge is a new thing for me. And I think it can be done in my class. And then later on, you can share with us with your own subject and topic. However, if we challenge you with a general topic of climate change, because I think it's applicable for either PYP, MYP, and DP students, if we have climate change topic, and then we challenge our students with this thinking skills by using either DOK, either Socratic, or either Bloom taxonomy. What do you think? Is there any possibility? Oh, okay, I think I'm going to use DOK in my tuning in. Or perhaps I'm going to use extended thinking in DOK for my going further process, things like that. Because I believe that climate change is applicable, yeah, in PYP, MYP, and DP. So let's have a look. Okay, so Ibu Farah cannot share her screen. Can you go to the Classcipe by yourself and then click the PPT? Is it possible to do that? Can you access our PPT in the Classcipe? Yes? Okay, thank you, Nanda. Okay, so if you go to our PPT in Classcipe, there is a slide, I believe slide number 38. Okay, so click slide 38. So we give you a topic, climate change, and then we're going to give you a time like 10 minutes, okay? 10 minutes. Have a look into our PPT, make a clarification by yourself, click the previous slide, and then if you are PYP teachers, and then take a look about, okay, when and where can I apply the thinking tools model into my unit of inquiry? Or if you're MYP or if you're DP, perhaps you can choose the stage. Okay, so I give you 10 minutes. Choose stage, or if not, just choose one stage. It's okay lah. Yeah, our session is very flexible session. Yeah, the goals of this session is we also want to hear from you. Gitu. Okay, so I'm not the only one who speak. Farah is not the only one to speak. We wait for your sharing also. So please choose one thinking tool models and then apply that thinking tools into one of the inquiry cycles by using climate change. Is there any question or we are clear? Oh, okay, we cannot choose the slide. Okay. Okay, so we're going to give you another option because Classcipe is a new tools for us too. So we're going to generate our PPT into PDF, and then we're going to share it in the chat box. Okay, let's wait for a moment.
Hi, Maryani. Can you
Yes.
please try the option? Can you please turn on the option called student paste below
Okay.
your PPT?
Yes, Ibu Farah already changed it into student pace, but they said that they cannot click it.
Is it?
Yeah.
It always works when it is student paste. Okay, you are sharing from your Classcipe account, right? You are not. Okay, it's your Classcipe PD content, right? From the Google Slides. Who is sharing this?
Oh, okay, wait. Ibu Farah. Okay, let me check.
Because once you turn on that, means when you start your session and you turn on in the presenter mode, you go to the presenter mode and turn that on, then your participants can work on your PPT if there is any activity.
Okay. Okay, I'm still trying ya, Miss Heli ya.
Hi, Maryani. Can you go to the Classcipe and see, because this is your Google slide?
Okay, so I'm still trying with Farah. Okay.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm really sorry, Saheli, because
No
this is
problem.
yeah.
No, because I can see that you have started sharing your, because you are presenting your Google slides, but it will only work when you, go to the presenter mode in the Classcipe, like when you started your session, actually in the beginning, you remember the mode was different, right? What interactive actually you have used here, or can you just tell me if I can help you? Any particular interactive that you have added here?
No, actually, we just prepare our PPT and then we ask the participants to
Yes.
have take a look and make a connection with their own unit plan and subject topic. So basically, they need to like relearn and reread
Yeah,
about.
yeah, that fine. Sorry, I'm taking too much of your time. I'm extremely sorry for that. I'm just trying to help you out
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, I know. But is it possible for you to open our PPT, Miss Saheli?
Yeah, I'm just trying that from the back end. But
Okay.
it's okay if you don't need your participants to work on the PPT. Means if there is no interactives, then
Mm-hmm.
it is fine. You can just continue the way you are
No,
continuing.
okay,
Okay?
okay. Sure, sure.
Only you both want to collaborate in a particular slide and you want to see their answers, then
No, no, no,
okay,
no.
then
Okay.
it's fine, Maria. You are all set.
Okay.
You can just go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. Thank you, Miss Saheli. Okay, so again, we have 5 minutes left. Hopefully, there is one volunteer who can share their opinion with us, so we can see in applicative ways on how to implement one thinking tools model into climate change topic. Okay.
I would like to apologize of the technical issues we're experiencing at our end. Have a look at the link I share with you in the Zoom chat. That is the PDF format of our PPT today. Yeah, so Ibu Maryani is still giving you time to practice on these tools. I personally hope it's not very overwhelming to choose one of those and see if they're actually applicable in your teaching and learning. But I certainly hope that our sharing will be adding something to you today. So yeah, I'm just going to still give you some time to work on your activity today. Yes, Ibu Katie.
Hi, Miss Farah. Hi, Miss
Hi.
Yani.
Yes, how can we help you?
May I share my thoughts on this
Awesome.
activity?
Great. Yes, please do.
Okay, so I'll just try my best. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So I choose the sorting out stage. So for the Socratic practice, I choose the probing rationale, reasons, and evidence. And for the DOK, maybe we can use the skills and concepts or strategic thinking for that stage. And going further, for the Socratic, I will use the questioning viewpoints or questioning about the questions. For the DOK, I might choose the extended thinking. That's from my end. Thank you. Any suggestion, Miss?
No, I mean, like, I just have a question. Is this something that you usually do in your classroom when planning your lesson in the classroom?
No, not really. It's just like I'm trying to maybe use one of them or maybe combine it. But to be honest, I didn't use the Socratic or either the OK. So it's new for me, but it's good to know.
All right. Thank you for sharing, Ibu Katie.
Thank you.
Miss Kathy. Hi, Miss Kathy.
Hi, Miss. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. Now, Miss, thank you so much for your sharing. Is it possible for you to share like the type of question, Miss, like what is blah 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 kayak gitunya? Okay, is it possible?
Okay, the examples. Yeah.
The example of question, Miss.
I see. Okay, I will. Can I get back to you? Maybe I just searching out a bit. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kathy. Is there any other volunteer? Any other volunteer?
I see some familiar names. Can I just like point out? No, yeah. Bapak Irwan Syah nggak?
No. I know that this is new knowledge, yeah, but again, hopefully is going to open our perspective and then find alternative to different thinking tools other than 6 thinking hat. Anyone want to share?
Can I ask a questions?
Sure, Miss.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. My name is Sri Mahendrani and I'm from Bali Island School, from Bali. I think that this is a great sessions because it's a new thing for me because usually I'm a language teacher. I'm a language acquisition teacher. And as you said that actually ATL skills can be implemented in any kind of subject, right? And I'm also trying to implement the ATL skills, like making it more explicit through my language teaching. This is actually like a comment for me because this is a new stuff, a new thing for me, and I would like also to implement it in my class. I have maybe inquiries instead of maybe applying it, especially in perspective of language acquisition. Will it be possible to put all together the Socratic, the DOKs, and the Bloom's? I think the Bloom's taxonomies that I use a lot explicitly in my language teaching, or we can actually choose them.
Okay, thank you, Miss. In my perspective, I think it will be better to choose one thinking tools and then apply it consistently. So they need to familiar with the routine first. Because if you notice, 3 thinking tools have similarities and differences. So we just need them to have a routine, and then they need to classify, okay, when I ask this question, this is a recalling. When I ask this question, this is strategic thinking, things like that. So they need to know the structure first, familiar with it, and then after that, it's easier to ask different questions, right, Miss? But for me, just choose one and then applying it consistently. So the students is not going to be overwhelmed. Thank you, Miss.
So basically we can choose and then we have to apply it consistently. So that's,
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Is there any question? No, yeah, I think you guys are still processing, yeah, and it's okay. It's
sorry, there was actually a question about slide number 15 that we shared with you about these links. So these links are actually an internal links. When we click them, it'll take us to the slides that we are going to talk about. This is for like the purpose of slideshow. So these table is not leading you to internal sources. Instead, in the original slides, it only takes us to the slides that we are going to show during our presentation. So yeah, I mean, like, not to confuse whether these links are actually sources, additional sources, or anything. This just leads us to the slides that we want to talk about. For example, if I click this link here in Socrates, it might take me to slide number 16, and then I have this arrow here, which take me back to the table. So it's for the purpose of slideshow. We thought it's going to work in Classcipe. This morning, I found out it's not working. New thing to reflect and learn.
Can we pick one? Okay, there is a question from me, Miss Ayi. Can we pick one from Socratic level and one from the depth of knowledge level? Again, Miss, in my opinion, choose one thinking skill model and then using it consistently. So it will be better for the students to know that what I'm doing now is I'm applying Socratic. What I'm doing now is I'm applying the thinking tools rather than you mix it up. Ibu Farah, what do you think?
I think if you want to challenge yourself to see how the mix and match will result to you and see which one is working to you, it's actually okay to try the first stages with this, the next stages with this, the other stages with that, just to make sure that there is no significant repetition in the stages that you choose. I mean, like, what's the point of repeating again and again? It's just going to cost you your time with your students in the classroom, right? So, because I believe that each of these tools provides a unique perspective and approach to certain level of learning and thinking. If you would say, why not?
She's speaking as a TOK teacher and coordinator. Okay, from Pahajmi, how to encourage students to deepen their skill in forming question. I'm handling grade 4 students with the medium level of English. Okay, so from my experience, Pahajmi, I usually give them a card like 5W1H methods, and then usually I have like a cue card. What is what question, what is why question, and then how question, where question. So there is a definition of each of 5W1H, and then I'm going to provide them question bank from each W and H, and then for a starter, they can refer to the question bank, but again, slowly and steadily, we're going to ask them to formulate their own question. That my my experience. Hopefully, it can help.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Ani.
Pak Hajmi.
Yeah.
Hi, Pak.
Hi. Yeah. So in the classroom, unfortunately, this year the level of English of my students is a little bit low since the pandemic time. So they don't have any chance to be in the English environment. So it is quite struggling for us as well. And then, is it possible or is it allowed that we have to, let's say, display those WH question starter in the classroom and then give them a lot of some kind of stimulation to making questions, like what we're doing is guided them. So
Yes.
like a guided inquiry. So it is still okay, yeah. Still okay.
For me, still okay, Pak. For me, still okay.
Yes.
From Miss Sri as a LA teacher, Miss, is there any tips and tricks on how to encourage students with low English level, Miss?
Yes. So because they are seems like not really confidence to speak in English. So that's quite hard time for us as well.
Yes. Oh, well, this is interesting because it's asking back to me as a language teacher, especially for beginners and if they're in primary, because my domain or my division is actually in secondary school, but I also had experience in the PYP in the primary school. Well, we have to give them maybe technical terms or keywords before if we want them to get to know more on these thinking tools, and because the language barriers becomes the issues of that, we have to strengthen them through a vocabulary, a drills of the vocabulary, and making them aware of that, familiarize them with that by the drills. So giving them technical terms that we are going to use, the keywords we are going to use, and expose them as much as possible. Then we can go through the thinking tools.
Thank you very much for the tips.
Thank you.
Right, I'm going to respond to the question from Mr. Holgert Lastrollo. Could we describe how this approach impact the learning process and the assessment result of the students compared to when we don't use this explicitly? So what I found was based on experience. I tried using the Bloom's taxonomy verb to challenge my students to come up with their own research questions. And then through the process, I found some students do not write a complete question sentences. And that was a very great experience to point out, you know what, write a complete questions. Because if we take questions just as is, when you write them, it creates confusion. For examples, I think at the time we were talking about developing countries, MEDCs and LDDCs. We start with what is the definition of MEDCs, and then how do we know whether a country, some students come up with very short question, because that question is actually the continuous question from the previous one. They wrote, what does that mean? And then how do we measure them? What are the characteristics? If we take that question, what are the characteristics, question mark, and put that in the board, it creates confusion. Like, what characteristics you're talking about? What are you trying to ask? So it gives me an opportunity to point out, write a complete question, because later on, because I taught this grade 8 students, and now currently they're in grade 12 with me, when we are exploring knowledge questions in TOK, it was so much easier for me to point it out. Hey, remember we created research questions all the way from grade 8 to grade 11, and how do you come up with knowledge questions that is by nature more abstract? So the skills may not be clearly feasible when you teach them after one meeting or after one term, one semester, but it will clearly be feasible when you really need them the most, when it is required them to show that particular skills in the highest level of their own learning. So I think that would be an ongoing experience for me, because I started with this batch of students since they were in grade 8. Now they're in grade 12 in TOK lesson with me. I hope that actually answered.
Yeah, just again to emphasize what Ibu Farah said before, it takes a village to teach the children. So hopefully after our session, you also can share this kind of thinking tools with your colleagues or with your PYP coordinator, MYP coordinator, and DP coordinators, and then make a plan on how to consistently apply these thinking tools to different pathway. So hopefully we can see the differences in their learning process along the way. Okay. Is there any other question from the others? I think we running out of time. So again, thank you so much for our session. Thank you so much for your patience during our ups and downs. Technical error. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you can take some ideas from our session. Keep in touch, and then keep happy, keep healthy, keep spreading positive vibe to our students. Ibu Farah, any last note?
Yeah, I mean, like if it didn't work in the first try, we're teachers, right? Try again next year and try again next year, try again next year, and then see if there is anything we can change from that. I mean, like, hopefully you're not feeling too overwhelmed, just like I did when we started composing, what are we going to deliver? But anyway, thank you for your participations. I hope, well, it doesn't have to be consistent in the first try, Pak Hajmi, but you can be consistent for like the entire academic year. Who knows, right?
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Farah,
Thank
have
you,
a
Miss.
Thank
nice
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu.
You're
day.
welcome.
Farah, hi, this is
Yes.
Lily. Yeah, thank you for making me host. I'll just stop the live stream. That is why I was requesting you. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry.